Hello, and welcome to the Soccernomics Podcast, the home of football economics. My name's George Lyons, and every Friday I'll be joined by special guests from all areas of the footballing world, along with our own team of expert journalists from the Soccernomics website, where we'll be delving into the economical, financial, business, and legal matters behind the beautiful game that we all love. If you're a fan of football and want to get to know more about what goes on behind the scenes of your club, or the impacts that football has on the economy, and vice versa, continue listening and consider subscribing to us on YouTube and Spotify so you can stay up to date. If you're a football fanatic and weekly podcasts just aren't enough, head over to our website soccernomics.net, where you can find more in-depth articles on all the latest topics in football economics, written by myself and our brilliant team of journalists. On this week's inaugural episode, I was joined by the absolutely fantastic Dr. Mark Giancaspro, who is a member of the Soccernomics team and is also a lawyer. Not only practicing, but he is also a lecturer of law at the University of Adelaide. Mark is an expert in contract law and has written some incredible pieces on contract law in not only football, but also in areas such as cryptocurrency. He really is a smart guy and a brilliant guy all round. So if you would like to check out his work, the links will be provided below. Mark is also a journalist for us at Soccernomics, specialising in the legal matters behind football. You can read all his work on numerous topics on our website, soccernomics.net, such as the situation surrounding Wigan Athletic and the unfortunate circumstances they're experiencing at the moment. A very sad story, however, the article is absolutely fantastic. As Mark and I are both avid Liverpool fans, on today's podcast we decided to discuss Liverpool Football Club. After winning their first league title in 30 years convincingly, and winning the Champions League the season before that with a transfer budget much smaller than their rivals such as Manchester City, Manchester United and Chelsea, it's fair to say Liverpool are experiencing huge successes on and off the field, especially considering what state the club was in when owners Fenway Sports Group purchased the club 10 years ago. To celebrate a decade of ownership, Mark and I broke down the development and progress FSG made with the club, from recruitment to marketing and financial management, taking them from the brink of bankruptcy to the champions of Europe and the world. I hope you enjoy today's podcast, and if you want to show your appreciation, be sure to support us by clicking the like button and hitting subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. What's up, guys? George Lyons here, and welcome to the inaugural Soccernomics Podcast. And I'm joined today by the lovely Mark Giancaspro.
That's me.
Hello, Mark.
George. Hello, George.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's pretty late. It's like 10:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night.
South Australian time for our international listeners.
Yeah, well, they don't know where that is. And if you say Adelaide, they still won't know where that is.
So wherever Australia is, keep going down.
Pretty much.
If you hit ice, you've gone too far.
That's it. For starters, Mark, who do you support?
I support Grimsby. No, not really. Big Liverpool fan. Why did you ask that? You knew that. Oh, because everyone.
It's also because you're wearing the shirt.
I am. Look, this is one I stole many years ago, and it's one of my favourites.
It's a lovely kit.
It is.
To be honest, I'm sort of probably one of the only Liverpool fans that's sad that New Balance are not our shirt sponsor anymore, because they were very unique kits. That's one thing that you like about a kit, is that they're unique.
Yeah, they were unique.
But I'm pretty happy that we've got the new Nike deal, because the green. I don't know how many of you guys have seen the new Liverpool kit, but it is beautiful. Like the green, people are saying it looks like Colgate toothpaste, but
or candy canes.
No,
I like it.
No, but nice. It's actually really, really nice. I'm actually thinking I'm going to get a Liverpool kit for the first time in like 10 years. So, and
they're so cheap. They're only like $200.
Yeah, but that's not why we're here, Mark, is it? No. So what we're doing on this podcast, if you guys are new here, basically with Soccernomics, it's all about the economics in football, whether that's business. Oh, jeez, all right, don't do that more often. So it's whether it's business and Cameron's laughing. Thanks, Braden. So we got business, economics, law, or finance in football, basically. Yep. Covers a very broad range of things. What we're going to be doing is like a weekly or bi-weekly podcast talking about a particular area or just a scenario in football, whether that's a current affair or something that goes on behind the scenes. For example, like inflation in the transfer market, which is something that has been quite ridiculous over the past 5 years, wouldn't you say, Mark?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a lot coming up in the next coming weeks, but we thought for our inaugural Soccernomics Podcast. We talk about something that we both love and something that obviously needs to be talked about, and that is...
I actually can't remember.
Oh, dear. All right.
No, I'm just kidding. We know what we're talking about. No, we're talking about the economics underlying Liverpool's resurrection and, of course, their magnificent title success. I am, of course, biased, as are you, but let's put our bias aside. We need to talk figures, facts, and fun.
Fantastic. So, unless, of course, you guys have been living under a rock, of course, Liverpool have won their first title in 30 years. First title that I've ever witnessed. Is it the first title you've ever witnessed?
I was scarcely alive when we last won the league. I have no memory of it
Scarcely
whatsoever.
alive? What do you mean you're on the edge?
I had not been on the earth very long when we last won the league. So no recollection whatsoever. First for me.
All right, that's good to know. But yeah, obviously it's a massive occasion, and you saw the fans all around the world celebrating and what it meant to the players as well. Obviously, to win any title is a huge deal. But could you say that the Liverpool title is more special than others? I mean, obviously Leicester was one of was a special one, but this one meant a lot. Hey.
Look, you're asking a Liverpool fan. Speaking to a Liverpool fan.
I know. If you're not a Liverpool fan right now, you are going to be thinking that this is the most biased thing ever, but it's not. We're trying to take a real serious point of view.
You have to look at the stakes. I mean, it would have been 30 years. 30 years is a long, long time to wait for a league title. Ask our poor friends over at Tottenham.
Over at Tottenham, they're not friends.
But no, the wait was excruciating. It was awful, and we put up with a lot of crap along the way. Various successes in other competitions. That was the one that eluded us. Our bread and butter, as Bill Shankly called it, and we got it. So yes, it meant a lot.
Yeah, all right. That's good to know. Obviously, I was very happy as well. But there's one. Obviously, a lot of people say it's Jurgen Klopp that was responsible for doing it, which of course he is. He's one of the best managers in the modern era. Obviously, up there with like Pep Guardiola. Could you say Hansi Flick right now? It's a bit early, isn't it?
It's a fraction. Yeah, being honest.
But promising. But yeah, obviously it was Jurgen Klopp and obviously his coaching skills. But the key thing you've got to say is FSG, Fenway Sports Group, who own Liverpool Football Club. They've turned Liverpool around from, let's just say, like, I don't know how you'd say it. It's like if it was a person, you'd shoot it. Basically, no, dead serious.
Wow,
it was disease. It was dead, mate.
It was in serious strife. It was a toxic asset. It was just awful.
It was not a good time to be a Liverpool fan, was it?
No, it was dreadful.
I mean, it wasn't a good time. But out of the terrible situation that we're in, you look back, what has it been, like 10 years now?
10 years, since FSG took over.
And obviously they've turned the club around, and now we're one of the biggest clubs in the world once again. That's not being big-headed or anything. Like, obviously winning the Champions League is a big deal, and winning the league and winning it quite convincingly it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, definitely.
But what we want to do is try and start off and try and pick out what they've actually done to change this team around to be such an amazing team, because it's not just one thing. If it was just one thing, everyone would want to know what it is and implement that into their team, so that Rotherham United can be the next Liverpool FC. Imagine that.
Oh, Rotherham.
That'd be lovely.
That would be exceptional. And there's so many. To all of our friends in Rotherham. Absolutely.
Your friends.
I'm hoping it happens. Well,
your friends.
To all of George's friends.
I was going to say.
Mine de facto. I hope it happens. Go Rotherham.
Go Rotherham. The Millers. Paul Warren will get us there one day, by the way.
100%. Whoever that is, good luck.
Yeah. Anyway, we're slightly off course. But to kick us off, Mark, obviously you've done a bit of research and you know a fair bit about Fenway Sports Group. Can you kick us off where it all started for Liverpool, where we were in the situation and where we ended up?
Do we have a couple hours?
We have all the time in the world.
Oh, wow. Look, I think most people who are, well-versed with football would know that Liverpool 10 years ago was a completely different proposition to what it is now. We were obviously previously owned by two wonderful Americans in Hicks and Gillette. So look, they came in with supposedly the best of intentions, but as any good, well-intentioned footballer will tell you, looking from the outside in, it was anything but pleasant. They made a lot of promises. It was a difficult time for us financially, and it became worse because they tried to, rearrange finances to make it all happen. Didn't work. And obviously then the fans, as you know, with Liverpool are synonymous with the club, with the city, they own it. These guys came in and almost asserted ownership of the club like it was an asset. And that is not what Liverpool is. Liverpool, you may well have control of it, but it is a family.
Yeah, and that goes for a lot of football clubs. Obviously, you see, unfortunately, with Newcastle United, what's been going on with them, they've been having that happen to them probably longer than Liverpool, to be honest. They've been going on for it for a long time. And as much as I didn't want to see the Saudi Arabia takeover happen, I did not want to see Mike Ashley still in charge of Newcastle United. So Newcastle fans, we're obviously feeling for you. Continue.
It's a similar sort of issues, there are obviously concerns about transfers, concerns about promises of investments, which never came to fruition. So I think all of this was boiling up, and then obviously Liverpool effectively had to go to the market again. And, people forget Liverpool was on the brink, really, of almost administration.
Yeah, because what was it that Gillette and Hicks do? They basically they just took out loans and loans and loans, like leveraged the club and leveraged on leverage. It was basically leverage is when you finance using debt when you don't have the equity. For all those that don't know what leverage is, and it got really bad. Like, how much debt do you reckon we were in?
Oh, to be honest, it's difficult to recall exactly, but all I know is it was extraordinary, to the point that a club of Liverpool stature was on literally on its knees, and as a result, obviously the club effectively was forced to go to sale again, and if we didn't have a buyer, I think it was within some ludicrous amounts of time. We were going to end up in administration, copping the penalties that come with that. So
that's mad. Imagine us being relegated, or even worse, like liquidated.
Yeah,
that would have been a sad day in football. Like,
it's unthinkable. It's unthinkable. You cannot liquidate Liverpool Football Club.
It was a very real possibility. Like, this could have happened. And at the time, this was obviously the GFC. So the GFC, I've forgotten what the GFC stands for.
Global Financial Crisis.
That's the one. I was going to say Great Financial Crisis, but that's the same. It's basically the same thing. It is bad. It is bad. That's the easy way to see it. If you haven't seen The Big Short, watch that. That'll get you all over it. But yeah, to find a likely, suitable person to take over wasn't very likely at the time. So it wasn't a good time to be at Liverpool.
No.
But we didn't die. Something happened. Someone took over.
There was a court case in the middle of all this, don't forget. So Hicks and Gillette tried desperately to hold on to Liverpool. There's a great book, actually, for those of you listening. Not an endorsement, but it is just a seriously good book by Brian Reed. An epic swindle.
One you prepared earlier.
One I prepared earlier. No, it's actually a great book, though. Really, from the heart. They consulted with a number of former and, at the time, current players. But the story's incredible. They did everything in their power, these guys, to hang on to Liverpool, which was literally bleeding. It was so close to going under, because obviously the interest on these loans with this financial structure they put in place was crazy. We were never going to be able to service it. It was literally a toxic asset. If I was a prospective buyer, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near Liverpool. So thank the Lord. New England Sports Ventures, as they were then.
Oh, is that what they were called?
They were indeed. Came into the picture. Led, of course, by John W. Henry, who famously owns the Boston Red Sox and a number of other franchises and interests, and said, we're interested. Picked us up off the ground, dusted us off, and said, I think we've got something to work with. And obviously, the court battle went ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And it was decided that the sale would proceed. And that was literally the moment. A court case.
What a man. Love that.
Yeah, so NESV came in, obviously, since renamed Fenway Sports Group.
Yeah. Lovely. Love that. I remember, 'cause I was only when was it? It was 2011. Was it 2010? 2011?
It was just
I think it was 2011. October 2011 was when it happened. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was. I remember that I was only like 12 at the time. I was pretty young. But yeah, I remember they had their first press conference, and what was it? He was saying, John W. Henry said that they had like 4 promises. One of them was that they were going to break the curse because they had a habit of breaking curses.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did so at Boston, the Red Sox.
Yeah, of course. It was like 91 years or something like that since the Red Sox won a World Series. Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
in baseball.
oddly, our American friends, they call
know.
everything World something, even though
know.
it's mainly a domestic comp. But yeah, they were the World Series champions for the first time in a long time.
Oh, can you hear the doorbell?
Oh, is that what that is?
I should have known. I should have known that was going to happen.
That's okay.
There's always someone at this house.
It's a pleasant tone.
It is. You should hear it. We have like multiple different tones for it, but that one seems the most daunting.
Was it Fair Elise that I detected there? I think it might have been.
I think it was, yeah.
A bit of Beethoven just gets you in the mood to talk about football.
100%. What a better time.
Oh, my blood's rushing.
Anyway, so obviously it broke a huge curse out at Boston Red Sox. Took inspiration out at Billy Beane's Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
If you again, a really good film to watch to get around like what they actually achieve, FSG at Boston Red Sox, and even a better story with Billy Beane at Oakland A's. Check out the film Moneyball. If you got Netflix, it's on
fantastic movie.
One of my all-time favorite films. But yeah, watch that. It's an incredible film. It's got Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill actually won like an Oscar or something like that for that. So
did he really?
I think it was an Oscar, something like that.
He deserved it. Great film.
It's a great film. But yeah, that's not the important thing. The important thing is that they used what's called Moneyball. Obviously, that word gets thrown around way too much, but that was initially what happened. It originated in baseball, and they believed that they could bring it to football. They wanted to expand into a new sport, and why not bring it to a sleeping giant? You'd say that we are.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, but.
Yeah, well, we were at the time. I mean,
yeah,
like we were literally 100%. On our knees, and the performances on the pitch weren't great either. So, I mean, yeah, we weren't all...
Stevie G.
Yeah, aside from one or two players who were literally holding us up by the scruff of the neck, we didn't really have much going for us. So, so there were doubts about Moneyball working, both in terms of helping this particular, trouble-plagued team.
Yeah.
But also the league, the Premier League, probably the most illustrious in the world. Well, in terms of prestige and, it's fast-paced, it gets the best media coverage. I was one of the people saying Moneyball doesn't work in the Premier League.
And me, 12 years old, just thought that Stevie G was going to be there forever. I didn't really know what Moneyball was. I didn't really care, just as long as Stevie G still played for Liverpool. But
thank you, Stevie, if you're listening.
I met him. I met him when I was like 14.
You met Steven Gerrard?
Yeah, it was like
face to face.
Face to face.
You saw him through a restaurant window.
I shook his hand.
Oh, you did not.
So my uncle works for the FA. He used to be a linesman. He actually lined.
What?
Yeah, he actually lined the FA Cup final in 2005 between Man United and Arsenal. It was the worst on my birthday. On my birthday.
Is this one of those stories that just a soundbite to get people interested, or did this actually happen?
No. This is one of the few interesting things about my life.
This did not happen. Really?
Yeah, that's it.
Why are you only telling me this now? I've known you since I was like a fetus.
Well, you haven't. You've known me for 7 years.
Whatever. Shut up.
But yeah. Anyway, so my uncle used to basically assess referees in the Premier League, the Championship, whatever, all the way up and down the league table. And he had Liverpool versus West Brom at Anfield, and he gets to sit in the director's box. So he gets to sit in the director's box, but he has to dress up, suit and tie, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I used to go to some of his games. He'd go to. Sometimes I watch like Scunthorpe United and all this, but I got to go to a Liverpool match.
Sorry, who was that? Did you just say Scunthorpe?
Yeah, Scunthorpe.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Shout out to our friends in Scunthorpe.
We don't have any friends in Scunthorpe. But,
okay.
All right. But I mean, no. If you're from Scunthorpe and you're watching, I'm willing to become your friend, I guess. Moving on. Liverpool versus West Brom. Yeah. West Brom was our bogey team. So
yeah,
we
they
lost.
have been.
I've only ever watched Liverpool versus West Brom in Premier League, and we've lost every single time. So it's not been too good. But Steven Gerrard was injured that day, and he was sat the row behind me with Lucas Leiva. And at half-time, I turned around to them, and I had a chat with them, asked for their autograph. Stevie G...
I'm getting teary.
Stevie G took the programme, and he autographed a picture with Lucas Leiva on it. And I didn't know what to do with it. I was like in shell shock, the fact that Steven Gerrard was talking to me and I was having an actual conversation with him, being a proper fanboy, but inside as well was heartbroken. I've still got it. I'll try and find it for you next time.
Please do. I'd love to see
100%. Oh, just love it.
Anyway,
we're going so many tangents right now.
Back in the news days.
Yeah,
we were talking about FSG's takeover, which was long, drawn out, painful. And not just for Liverpool fans, for football fans, because it was annoying. No one knew what the hell was going to happen with Liverpool. If you go into administration, currently the rules state you cop a 12-point penalty automatically. I believe that's EFL down, and it should also apply to Premier League. Obviously, that would have been pretty bad. Liverpool didn't have the best squad at the time. I'm confident still they wouldn't have been relegated, but, anything happens in the Premier League. And Giants have fallen. Newcastle, Leeds, it's happened. Nottingham Forest.
Derby County.
Okay, we could go on forever. Sunderland.
Yeah.
You
can't forget that. Oh, my God.
You forget Sunderland are, still the only Premier League club to go an entire season winning every one of their home games. Admittedly, it was 4 less than Liverpool did this season with 1 draw, but...
It's an incredible feat.
It is. So anyway, let's come back to there.
Keep going. All right. Yeah. So, pretty much obviously they had this idea and like theory, I guess, beliefs that they could bring it to football and try and implement that and obviously turn this club around. But it didn't exactly go to plan to start off with, did it?
No way.
No, obviously there was a lot of changes. We had new sponsors come in. Obviously, you got no longer had Carlsberg as the main sponsor, which was so iconic of Liverpool and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt like there was a lot of changing, but not really a lot moving ahead. A lot of people don't understand that we need patience, and that was something that they said, wasn't it? They said you need patience with us.
Yeah.
It's not.
You mentioned the 4 promises before.
Well,
one of them was breaking the curse, but there were a couple of others too, weren't there?
Well, there was because there was 4. But
So there were 3 more.
I just remember the one. That one. Yeah.
That was the only one you remembered.
That was the only one I remember. Yeah, it was. Oh, come on! I was like 12, mate.
No, that's fair. To be honest, you can say 4, you could say 6, 12. It doesn't matter. They did make a number of promises, and I've got to be honest. At the time, I was genuinely unsure exactly how much they were going to be able to pull off. Certainly in the short term. And I mean, in football terms, a complete turnaround with a club in 10 years, incredible.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. But they promised a lot. They promised to, make the club what it used to be, to improve its brands, to improve its name.
Yeah.
Once again, make it one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think every new ownership promises that, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they did it with a certain conviction because they literally said, this is what we do. We break curses.
Yeah.
And we build success. And I don't know, there was something about the way they said it.
Yeah.
I was actually starting to think, okay, I'm buying it.
You're buying it. I was just a kid, mate. I just thought, this could only be a good thing. But it was a good thing.
Oh, of course. We had new owners. New owners brings new belief, brings, almost, it was relief, really. Once Hicks and Gillette got out, it was just like, anything's better.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a squad to walk into as well. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So take you back. It was about 10 years ago now. So it got to it was October, wasn't it, when they took over? So this was when Roy Hodgson was in charge.
Yes, he was.
For a very brief amount of time. Liverpool were in the relegation zone. Roy Hodgson said relegation is a real possibility, which is not the nicest thing to hear.
I think a few other managers did too. Roberto Di Matteo, I think he was in charge at West Ham, and he said it's actually increasingly becoming likely that Liverpool would go down.
Yeah, so not what you want to hear.
No.
And we had a well full of clutter at our club. Terrible signings, old players that just needed to move on.
Yep.
Young players that just didn't seem to have much potential. I guess you could say they were just stagnating because of the environment that the club was in, so on and so on.
Yeah.
So the first thing that obviously FSG had to do was try and clear out the right people.
Definitely.
100%. So what you could say, like...
We can't build a new house unless you've got a vacant block, right? Or near enough. Oh, yeah, okay, the drum sound. Yep, I'm with you. We need to see, we can't afford the sound effects yet.
No, I was going to do it.
We'll get there. We'll get a little, or a little, just, I don't know, we'll get someone in the corner playing the drum.
The cameraman's just laughing to himself in the background. But we had to clear out some driftwood. So obviously players like, who do we have? We had like Alberto Aquilani. We had Jovanovic, Christian Poulsen.
Yes, yep.
Donny. No. Donny was actually one of the people we recruited, the backup goalkeeper.
Yeah. Paul Konchesky.
Yeah. What on earth was he doing at Liverpool?
Can we just say we're not trying to say they're horrible footballers.
We're not slagging off. We're not slagging them off or anything like that. It's just.
But let's be honest, they were not Liverpool standard, and but that's the part of the problem was we lost our appeal. Liverpool wasn't a place to come.
It wasn't.
They didn't want to come play for Liverpool anymore. I'm talking the best players in the world. Why would you? We had no prospects of winning anything.
Who are you looking at?
I don't know. I think I'm looking at my desolate soul from 10 years ago.
Desolate soul, man.
Wearing a shirt, a few before this one, thinking we're not going to win anything. Why would anyone come to us? So unless we spend massive money.
We had terrible shirts back then as well. I did not like the first one. I thought it looked like a plastic bag. Apparently Steven Gerrard's favourite kit, but nah.
Which one was that? Was that
it was the first one with Standard Chartered. It was still with Adidas. Oh, gee. I don't need to.
Oh, Yellow Badges? Was it Yellow Badges?
Yeah.
Yellow writing? Yeah, I've got them
I think
all.
So. I think so.
I don't know. They blend after a while.
Yeah. Obviously, they did another thing. So FSG obviously cleared out. They needed to bring in some new players.
Yeah.
Their philosophy was basically get a load of darts, throw whatever you can at the wall, see what sticks. Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Pretty much. It was quantity over quality, which.
But it had to be. It had to be at that time.
It had to be at that time just because the squad was so depleted, it needed a rebuild.
Yep.
A lot of changes needed to be made, but it was like sort of too much too quickly. And obviously, when you're just holding a whole new squad together, what's the word? Chemistry for all those FIFA players.
Probably one of my favorite words.
Okay, cool. No one asked, but
everyone heard it.
Obviously there was a lack of chemistry in the team.
Yeah, there was.
And there was a lot of youth in the team all of a sudden. So who was it who came into the first transfer window? It was like Jordan Henderson. It was like Jordan Henderson was one of them.
There was that spell where we brought in a lot of players like Stuart Downing and Ricky Lambert, and we brought in a lot of...
Not at the same time.
Not at the same time, but I'm saying we went for these little spells where we brought in a lot of players, and look, good players, don't get me wrong, but not like world beaters.
Yeah.
So there were two phases like that. I think the first one was with Roy Hodgson, if I'm not mistaken.
No, so Roy was already manager before FSG came in, I believe, and when they came in October, I think he got sacked, and they brought in Kenny Dalglish, as an interim for the season to see, like, try and steady this ship, try and obviously get us to a reasonable position until they find someone who's right.
I was at the bakery the night that Roy Hodgson was announced to have been sacked, and I nearly choked on my pie.
Really?
True story.
Cool, man.
It was shock. It was a combination of shock and I'm really sorry, Roy, but it was almost a bit of subtle relief as well.
It was like, obviously Roy's had a great career and stuff, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't good.
That was Liverpool at the time. Classic Liverpool. Like, he did well at Fulham. Hell, let's throw him in at Liverpool. See what he can do.
Yeah.
It was not the right fit. It just didn't work. Right. And look, the fans tried to warm to him. They gave him everything that a Liverpoolian can do, but it just wasn't right.
Yeah. Oh well, is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, obviously Kenny Dalglish was in there. That's like one of the smartest moves
that
clever. FSG could have done. Like, what better way to spark off like your reign by bringing back a club legend who has won the league title before, everyone has unconditional love for, you just can't get on the wrong side of, and that will help them understand that, okay, this is going to be a process, it's going to take a while to get going, just be on our side. But not only did that happen, it obviously boosted the morale of the team. And
just
like in the January transfer window, we got in Luis Suarez and Andy Carroll. Just like that. Boom, boom. Big stars.
Yeah. One's slightly brighter than the other.
Yeah.
If you're talking in terms of stars.
Yeah. We won't talk about, obviously, the Andy Carroll one. But at the time, it felt like, okay, he's doing pretty good. He's young. It's got potential. But obviously, it didn't go to plan. But you think 35 million now, it's not that bad. At the time, it was like, oh my God. Like,
I nearly vomited.
Yeah. But 22.5 million for Luis Suarez? What a steal.
Yeah, that's a bucket. Well, see, where did that money come from?
Where did that money come from?
Yeah. We sold a certain somebody and ended up coming into a bit of money.
Oh, who do we sell? We sold it. We sold a lot of players that year.
We sold a lot of players.
We sold... Is it Chubby? Was it Chubby?
Xabi
Alonso.
I think he'd already gone by that. But Mascherano already gone.
Who do we have? I can't remember.
Fernando Torres.
Oh my God, of course. Oh my God.
50 million
50 mil
pounds.
That was the one because we were just like, yeah, all right. There you go, Chelsea, 50 mil. And then we get Luis Suarez for less than half the price. That's all right.
And twice the damage. Don't get me wrong, I loved Torres. And on his day, unplayable. No, on his day, unplayable. Literally one of the best forwards we've ever had. So and the game's ever had. So let's not.
That's like
throw mud.
Well, it was one of the few bright sparks of the Gillette Hicks reign, wasn't it? An actual Galactico, like.
Yeah, gun signing.
Oh,
but
amazing.
That's what I mean. They were here and there. They were here and there. And a lot of the time it was because we sold someone to bring them in. So it was never any really dramatic or drastic expenditure.
No.
Ever.
But this was exciting. It was a good way to start off because it was just straight away, okay, we're serious about this.
Yeah.
Straight away.
You're right. Kenny was there. He was at the helm. Everyone loves him.
Kenny was there.
He was a father figure really at that club.
Yeah. Results did improve a little bit, but obviously it's not where they wanted it to be. Obviously, it's a work in progress, but didn't get relegated. That's good. Finished top half, I think. That's good.
We were happy with that back then.
We were happy with that because, oh my God.
Wasn't it like 8th or something the first season?
I don't know.
I think under Kenny. But I mean, look what he had to work with. The ship was, they were plugging holes as they were sailing. So
yeah, he did all right. And then obviously more transfers came in, started to build up a bit of a team morale, and then they finally got the right person in. Well, who they thought they were the right person in because they realised that they wanted to play attacking football. They wanted an identity that they could stick with and grow with, and that was Brendan Rodgers, wasn't it?
It was Brendan, who had, of course, a stellar spell at Swansea.
Yeah.
Did a wonderful job at Swansea.
Brilliant.
Beautiful possession football.
He's a brilliant coach. I don't know why people don't like him.
No, it is. He was a brilliant coach and a good guy. And, he at the time ticked a few of the boxes, I would have thought, to be...
Got us going, didn't he?
Yeah, to be Liverpool manager. He had the tactical nous, clearly. He was a nice guy, which is a big thing. So, that would resonate with the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe some other boxes weren't.
Yeah, he just didn't have a good way of getting the press on his side. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because he's so sensible and he's just so sure of himself and doesn't give too much away. It's like the press doesn't like that. Like they love charisma or they love like a bit of like that Jose Mourinho or something like that. Just like a character, and it's like, oh, this is like
vanilla.
It's just vanilla. Yeah, vanilla. Yeah, vanilla. Sounds so bad, doesn't it? No, he's a great manager, but he got us going. He obviously got on the good side of the fans to start off with because we started getting results. Yeah, and we started playing really good football. Like it was, like it's more than rock and roll football. It was like do or die football, wasn't it? Really, it was like one end of the pitch back. It was
fast. It was keep the ball. It was. He changed formation too. He went to a 4-2-3-1, and then changed it around a bit when obviously Sturridge and Suarez settled in.
Yeah.
Then we went back to, I think it was 4-3-3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really beautiful to watch, and it was like, this is Liverpool of old. So he got it. He got what Liverpool is. Liverpool is fast, fluid, beautiful. That's the football we play. It's exciting.
I just loved it because there was lots of goals, and we usually won. Actually, we didn't normally win games, but we scored so many goals. I remember watching I think it was like Liverpool versus Norwich in the 13-14 campaign. I think we were like 2-0 down in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was still confident we were going to win. And we did. I think we won like 5-3. And it was just like, yeah, easy. Like you just knew that we were going to concede a couple of goals.
Yeah.
But we were going to score like 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah.
Every game.
But you knew we'd let some in. That was the thing. You know, I think Swansea, we beat them like 5-3 over there. But you knew it was going to happen. You knew we'd score a lot, but we'd let a lot in.
Yeah. And obviously that's not a sustainable way.
No, it's not.
To keep playing. And it came back to bite us. And unfortunately, things started to go wrong for Brendan Rodgers, Liverpool, didn't it? I mean, star players aren't going to stick around. Luis Suarez wasn't going to stick around. So obviously, everyone's saying about when he was biting with the bite that was the reason why he left. No, he was going to go anyway. Like he
was clearly miserable.
He was, he wanted. I mean, like when you got Barcelona knock on the door and you're a South American footballer, like you're gonna go.
Yeah.
So that was always gonna happen. Fortunately, we had some bright spots coming in through the team. So obviously, like Raheem Sterling and Felipe Coutinho.
Yeah.
So it was right to do it, to just try and keep it going, try and make some money to make some room for one more, because that is obviously what we believed in, is living within our means as FSG. It's living within means.
Let me ask you something, George.
Go on, Mark.
Mr. Lyons.
Yes, Mark.
Sir Lyons. Sounded like Sirloins. Brendan Rodgers, in FSG's eyes, what was wrong with him then? Because obviously we're talking about Liverpool's story. We're talking about the economics, so the decisions underlying the actions. Why did they get rid of Brendan Rodgers in the end?
Well, obviously for starters was results. It just it was so volatile. It was volatile. It was volatile being Liverpool back then, because you just went from, what was it, the season before we finished second? It was like 6th or 7th anyway, or 5th.
The season before,
we finished the 12-13 season that he came in halfway through.
Oh yes, yep, right.
So we did all right. We were playing pretty good.
Yeah,
then that 13-14 season we peaked, and it's so sad that we didn't win the league. But
it was unexpected though. It was literally unexpected.
Yeah, we weren't expected to win the league, at all. I wasn't expecting us to win the league, and it just started happening. All right, but then the next season, it just
we regressed.
We completely regressed. We ended up finishing 7th, 8th.
Yeah, no good.
The belief was gone, and you could tell that he was a frustrated figure because he couldn't get much more out of the team. Again, this is a manager that he could get a lot out of his players because they were always up against it, sort of thing. But because they've just had that massive high, it's hard to try and keep them going again.
You're right.
You need someone to keep them going. You need someone to keep them motivated. You need someone with a plan that you can buy into. Not this. Basically what we're going to try and do is score more goals. But when you've got an attacking line of, Mario Balotelli, Fabio Borini, and Ricky Lambert, you're not going to score heaps of goals. Not in Europe. You're not going to win anything, are you?
No, and again, with all respect to them.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But
with all respect, it was going backwards.
You said it before, chemistry. You said it before. There was no chemistry there. It was a bit of a hodgepodge of a team. And the other thing is, Stevie G, he wasn't getting any younger at the time.
Yeah.
I think you might remember that season, Stevie was sort of, his role in the team was adapted. He became sort of this deep-lying defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Right in front of the back four. Unheard of, but it worked. It worked a treat at first, and then they caught him out. Okay, so other teams called it. I think, with all respect to Brendan, he had no plan B, because the minute they figured out what Stevie's role in that team was, and he was the pivot, the distributor.
Yeah.
You know, now we do it from out wide. We'll get to that, but at the time he was the sprinkler head. That used to be the distributor, once he was out of the game, Liverpool were done.
Yeah,
and that's the truth.
It was true, and we were running out of ideas.
Yeah.
And finally, I guess the last thing was it was lack of, like I said, you say he's vanilla. He's not vanilla. He's just that's just who he is. But you want someone who's passionate, charismatic, someone who can turn the press conference and make a bad situation seem good. Seem exciting and. What are you doing with Liverpool?
The other thing is he also said some silly things. You remember in the media, and this is part of the reason he got beat up so much by the press. He would say things which almost excused poor performances. You remember the classic phrase, "We showed great character."
Yeah,
I think he famously used that after a draw with Everton, and of course for all Liverpool fans, that was you might as well just slap them in the face with a wet salmon. And that is not what you say after drawing to our arch rivals. we could have even lost. I can't remember. No, we haven't lost to them for a long time. Actually, don't need to touch wood. But seriously, it was wrong.
A little dig at Everton fans there.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sorry. I've got a few Everton friends and rallies, so my apologies.
You're doing a good job, man.
Look, they're our neighbours, our friendly neighbours.
I like Everton. I don't hate Everton.
No, I don't hate Everton.
Yeah.
I hate other teams, but I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah, pretty much. So obviously, they let Brendan Rodgers go for this reason.
Yeah.
It felt like he'd run his course, sort of thing. Fortunately, at that time, who was available?
Me.
We're not talking about your sex life, all right?
I was talking. Look, I haven't done my badges, but I would have done it if they'd asked me. I would have done it.
Okay, well they weren't going to, were they? But who else was available that could do the job? Someone who
I don't know. I've lost interest.
Okay, well it's Jurgen Klopp, mate. Jurgen Klopp, yeah,
charismatic German,
mate. He is Mr. Liverpool.
I love Dortmund. Dortmund is my German team, so I was familiar with him. Were you?
Of course I was.
Great. So everyone was happy.
I was so upset.
I was happy.
I was so upset when Dortmund didn't win the Champions League. Like, oh man.
I think everyone was going for Dortmund, to be fair.
Everyone was.
But yeah, he was on holiday. So Klopp had left. He'd left the Bundesliga. He was supposedly on a break, on a hiatus.
Yeah.
From football.
Understandably.
Ended it early to come and have a chat. Kenny was told it was, obviously the end of the transition period. Someone new's coming in.
Yeah.
Jurgen Norbert Klopp.
Is that his middle name?
His real middle name is Norbert.
Norbert.
Yeah, I don't even have to look it up. I know. It's Norbert.
I love that.
It's good, isn't it?
There's nothing to hate about the man. Like everything about him is just hilarious or just like likable.
I know. His middle name, it sounds like
Norbert.
Yeah, it's just great.
But yeah, can
you Google that, by the way? I'm just talking to the camera guy.
Yeah. Oh, he can Google whatever you want. But Jurgen Klopp, he obviously has traits that are quite unique.
Yeah.
In terms of a manager, you'd say quite a modern way.
Yeah.
What he does is he gets people on his side. He gets people to buy into what he's doing, and he gets people excited about his, like, not only what he's doing, but the whole project as a whole. Right? That sounds like something that Liverpool needed at the time.
Hell yeah!
They needed someone to be like, "Hey, stop being a doubter, stop being a believer," which is what he said, isn't it, when he's in his first press conference?
I remember that clear as day. His first presser, it was beautiful.
Yeah, brilliant signing from FSG. Like, they just pinpointed, look, we can't just get just anyone. We need the right man. As soon as they found out he was available, Brendan, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go. Jurgen, we need you right now. How good is that? Like, that's so efficient from them. And they did it straight away. Obviously, they managed to get him. He brought him into it. Weren't like Real Madrid or someone trying to get him at the time as well?
Real Madrid, and it's rumoured, our friends down the M6, Manchester United, were supposedly interested in poaching him. Yeah. I read recently that apparently he was approached. And that he actually met, obviously, with the ownership at Manchester United, and then he said he was not impressed. He didn't like their vision.
Fair enough.
This is hearsay, but
hearsay.
But it was reported in the media. But Liverpool, I mean, he said it himself in the press conference. He said it felt like a good fit because look at the clubs he's managed in the past. I think it was Mainz and Mainz, whatever.
Come on,
it's the mic. Dortmund's
uncultured.
Oh, shut up. Dortmund's, of course. And then, these are clubs which are extraordinarily connected with their fans.
Oh, yeah.
Zest.
Yeah.
Life.
Love it.
It is what they do, It's not just something for the weekend. It's their life, I mean, you've been to Liverpool. I've been to Liverpool. It's all they talk about. It's football. That's their life.
Yeah. You're either red or a blue nose. Isn't it?
Yeah. Liverpool's the same. So I have no doubt this felt like a good fit for him culturally.
Yeah.
But there was more.
But it was, obviously there was more to it. So
yeah.
He's obviously a very charismatic person, Jurgen Klopp, and he gets it, and that's what FSG knew. They knew they needed someone to get the fans, to get the city, to get the club, and just understand and show that same and like love for the club. Essentially, just like, because you can imagine, like, all those Liverpool fans. If you were a coach and you were a Liverpool fan, or a coach, if you're a fan of any football club that you manage, You're gonna do everything it takes. You're gonna be so like, I don't know what the word is, passionate.
Yeah, of course. You're invested. You got an emotional investment.
Yeah, it's an emotional investment as well as it being your job. You don't want it to be a job. You want to enjoy it. You want to succeed in it. That was him. He was so driven. He said in his first press conference, what was it? Was it 4 years or 5 years?
He said, "I'm confident within 4 years we'll have won at least one title."
There you go. And he said it's going to take time. He's putting it out there, but he did things like didn't he walk around the city?
He did. Yeah, he said he wanted to get a feel for the city, so he walked around into all the pubs, just having a pint, getting used to the culture and the people, and he had conversations with just people on the street.
Yeah,
that's the sort of guy he was, though. And that was the moment. Like, none of this was really publicized much.
No,
like,
I didn't know anything about this
later. Yes, it was picked up later, but he did all this because he wanted to. It was not for the cameras.
No, it was because he wanted to. He wanted to get people on his side. He wanted them to know about the culture of Liverpool, what it means to be Liverpool, and I love that. I love that. 'Cause that is all good managers, whether that's in football or in a business. They need to get the people. They need to get people on their side and they need to buy into what they're doing.
Yep, 100%. And I swear to God, George, that press conference, I believed every word he said. I actually believed this was the guy who was going to. I didn't know if we were going to win the league, to be fair, but I believed we'd win something.
I didn't believe that we were going to win the league.
I'm being honest. I thought this, this is just the next guy who's going to come in and try to clean up a mess which is just laid, dormant for 30 years, festering. But he had a good vision. He came in and he said all the right things.
Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it? He got us excited. He definitely got us on our side, and we were like, this is good. This can only be a good thing.
He wasn't speaking to the press. He was speaking to us.
Yeah, he was speaking
to the fans.
Love
said,
that.
Just give me time. Yeah. You say yourself, give me time.
And what did he do on his first day at the club? He did with the staff which really was quite amazing. Yeah.
That was the arrangement, wasn't it, of the facility? Yeah. So was it the very first day? I know.
I'm pretty sure it was the first day. Of course it would be, wouldn't it?
Pretty much when he arrived. But so he had this thing where he was struck by the facility where they eat. So as in the players, where the players and staff eat and mingle and do all their other tasks. But he was actually shocked at the fact that the players sort of ate in their own little area, and the staff and whatnot did their own thing in a different area. And he said, "Why aren't we all together?"
Yeah.
And so he actually encouraged the players actively to talk to the staff and vice versa, and eat together and share stories together and talk and greet one another. And not that they didn't, they were always friendly and they wave and But he said, no, we are all one family. We are all on the same team here, and it doesn't matter if you're the janitor through to the general manager. You deserve a spot at the same table as the players. I just think that's amazing.
That's incredible. Those little 1%ers.
It's a little gesture. Yeah, it's a little gesture, but he had a lot of those little gestures.
Oh yeah, like he knows everyone's name. You see that whenever you see him, like those little videos of him going into the club, he hugs everyone. He's like, oh hello, first name basis.
Talk about the hugs.
Hey
George.
Karen.
Talk about the hugs.
He loves a hug.
He's a hugger.
Loves a hug.
He's a hugger.
He is a hugger.
How many managers are there proper huggers? And I don't mean when the player gets subbed off.
No.
He's a full-time hugger.
Yeah, he is.
I love it.
He is. Every time you think about Jurgen Klopp hugging, I just think of that last-minute winner against Everton. He runs onto the pitch to Alisson.
And he hugged us.
And he hugs him. I was like, oh, that's the best thing. That is my manager.
But there's another 1%er. He embraces, in every sense of the word, his players.
100%.
Anyone that works with him, he celebrates victories with everyone around him. He hugs all of his staff when we score a goal. Yeah. 1%ers. And
he doesn't care. I mean, obviously, ability in a player is important to him, but it's not. It's the person as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm sure that it's probably the case with a lot of clubs. Like, you don't want bad negative energy in a club, or you don't want someone with an ego to come into the club. But obviously, there are players like that, and it's big in football because if you're good at football, like, you think you're a big deal, right? But what was it like when he signed? Was it Gini Wijnaldum? Was it when we signed Gini Wijnaldum and he invited him over to his house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What did he do? Like, he just like...
Well, he thought it was to talk about football and his goals and whatnot. Yeah. And Gini said, I'm pretty sure it was in an interview, he said the very first thing I asked him was, so, where would you like to vacation if you had the chance? And asked him about his favourite foods. And he said, I was so confused the whole night. He did not talk about football.
Yeah.
He didn't want to. He wanted to get to know his player.
Yeah.
And I
Incredible.
thought, that is amazing.
Imagine having a job interview like that. Like, instead of saying, so why do you want this job? Just be like, so what do you do in your spare time?
To be like, that job at a bank. So what's your favourite beach? If you were a colour, what would you be? But I can imagine him doing that. I can actually imagine it. 100%. And I can imagine it working. Because Ginny would have gone home going, what the that?
Was I bad? Did you just not want me?
Have I done something wrong? You haven't done anything wrong, mate. He's just humanising.
You did everything right, Genie.
That relationship, stick around if you can.
Please.
Yeah, but he humanised that relationship. Not many managers can do that. Again, a 1%er. And it's getting, gaining the respect of his players without compromising on his strength of character.
Yeah.
That's so rare.
So rare.
They play for him. He loves them. He adores them. Yeah. But if he yells at them, they listen. And you've seen it.
He's scary. He's a scary man. Yeah. Like when he's angry, he looks like I don't know what it is. Like I swear, when I was a kid, I had nightmares of someone that looks like him. Like he looks like what is it? Have you ever seen The Matrix?
Yes.
Yeah. For some reason, do you know there's like
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Like that guy. Like he sort of looks like that in a way, but like with better hair, and it's German instead of American.
So he's the German version of
sort of like that. Yeah.
The Matrix.
Or if you ever played Crash Bandicoot, and if you ever played
The Mask,
Wrath of Cortex.
Oh, no.
Do you know those little mad scientists for some reason?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that just popped into my head, but for some reason I think he looks like that. It terrifies me. Like they used to terrify me as a kid. I don't know why. Like they're so easy. You just slide tackle them, 2-foot them. Out of there.
That is the most bizarre comparison I've ever heard in my entire career. And I've been doing this for a day now.
Hold on.
Okay. Let's come back to it.
Let's get back.
Because from here, the story gets interesting. And you're probably thinking by now, why haven't we really said much about economics? And we have. We have. That's the thing. Economics, I mean, you're the expert. Tell us. What exactly is economics? Ultimately.
What do you want the like Wikipedia?
No, don't give me the Wikipedia. No. Don't give us the Wikipedia. What is economics? We're talking so far. We've talked economics. What is economics?
It's basically making the most out of your finite resources to maximize the output.
Yeah.
The results.
That's right. So that's what we've been talking about, even though it doesn't sound like it. So if you thought this was all numbers, I'm sorry to disappoint. There might be some numbers when we talk about.
There will be some numbers.
Yeah, the season to come. But okay, a few more 1%ers following Jurgen's appointment.
Yeah.
Which we've just heard about. So what happened from there? Because I think we do need to say something about his philosophy. He came in with a vision for Liverpool, what he thought they should do, how he thought they should play, and what he felt was our most realistic and reasonable targets.
Yeah.
So why don't we go right back to the point where he started signing players? Because this is where FSG's influence, and look, they have come out actually publicly, or not FSG, but many commentators have come out. In fact, we've got some reports here saying, no, it wasn't Moneyball. It was just, they did well with recruitment. I kind of think the two sometimes can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You're the expert.
Well, yeah. It's hard to define what a good transfer is. Like that Moneyball. The idea with Moneyball is it's not to get players on the cheap. It's to get players that are undervalued.
I like that.
Yeah. Like, and I'm sure that like they've heard this all before. But like, what's undervalued? Like, people when we signed, like, is undervalued. Like, you get someone for 10 million pounds. Like, no, that's not getting someone on the cheap. Getting someone undervalued is someone like that Virgil van Dijk. Like at the time, 75 million pounds was like whoa, what? Hold on a minute, what are you doing? But no, like he's won us the Champions League, the Premier League. He's been basically like our best player since he's been at Liverpool. Like he's incredible. Like he's like they say all the time, he's a Rolls Royce defender. He's so calm. He brings solidity to what has been a very shaky Liverpool defense up until he came in. Because
at times it's resembled cling film.
Yeah, and it brings in confidence to the rest of the team, because as soon as the defense is shored up, then that gives more license to obviously our wing backs, which is what our attack is mainly based on, have more license to go forward. Our central midfielders have less to worry about, that sort of stuff. So in terms of what undervalued is, like Virgil van Dijk at £75 million, absolute steal. Like he'd go for double that now. Like, he, like in today's market, you can imagine, like especially with Ronald Koeman now being the Barcelona manager, if he could sign absolutely anyone, it'd be him or De Ligt. Like it just would be, because their defense is shocking right now. Like obviously PK is not getting any younger. Nelson Semedo, all these players are like real young.
They're in that phase, aren't they? That transition phase where they are getting older.
And then he's a dramatic change. So what better than a player that you know, which is obviously like Van Dijk, that sort of stuff. But they're not going to get him on the cheap. They're going to get him for what he's actually worth, and they'll pay a premium as well, because Liverpool aren't getting rid of anyone.
No, that's right. Well, that's another change, isn't it? I mean, back in the day, you'd understand Luis Suarez wanting to leave, Philly Coutinho wanting to leave.
Yeah.
Now, you have to give them a reason not to stay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And we'll get into that in a bit, hey?
Yeah.
But start with, in terms of recruitment, like we said, what is a good transfer?
Good question.
Yeah, what is a good transfer, Mark? What would be the normal way to say, what's a good transfer? What would be the normal response to that?
We've talked about this before, and I think we sort of agreed at one point that there were probably three basic.
There's three basic
indicators, to quantify a player's efficacy.
Yeah,
I don't really like the dichotomy of good and bad, but if you had to weigh up players, so the three things, you've got obviously their actual value, so what their market value is.
Yeah.
You've got the value that they, or the appreciative potential, for lack of a better term. So in other words, the value they could have, with a little bit of development and training.
Yep.
And then you've got, I can't remember the third one we said. Do you remember it?
I can say them in a less complex way. So obviously you've got those players that you sign and carry on to be a team player, like a first team player. So someone that you expect them to grow into.
A known quantity. Yeah.
So at first it was someone with potential who has eventually filled that potential and increased in value. Someone that you've eventually sold on at a profit. So they're appreciative value. They've appreciated.
Their prospective value. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And of course, their actual.
Their market value.
We've sort of covered market, more their actual skill as a player. So in other words, they've got their value, they've got their expected value, and they've got, how good are they actually to the human eye?
Yeah.
How do we perceive them to be? Are they actually a good player?
Yeah. I mean,
most people focus on that.
Yeah. I mean, we're no stats analysts, we're no TIFO. But that's what we sort of put together. And there's a lot of signings that tick those boxes in sort of a way. So obviously
Give us an example.
Well, let's get some classic examples. Like we said, Van Dijk. That's one that's had a potential to grow, and their market value has grown, but he has actually grown to help the team. He's improved the team.
Yeah, but see, I looked at him and I was like, shit, how much were we paying? Was it 75 million?
I think.
A lot of money. And I looked at that and said, good player. So let's go to that third category.
Yeah.
He appears to be a solid player, but I mean, with all due respect to Southampton, I'm thinking it's Southampton or Liverpool reserves.
What do you mean? We are Southampton.
Liverhampton.
I was going to say you can't throw shade at Southampton.
No, I'm not throwing shade at them. But what I mean is, I saw a player who I thought, he's good. Is he going to do the same thing at Liverpool?
Yeah.
But that's the bracket I focused on. I did not think about what you're probably going to mention now. Yeah. That's his capacity to become a phenomenal defender.
100%. Yeah.
See, I undervalued that.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like there was so much more aim for potential because he was coming into a better team and he had more responsibility, all that sort of stuff. And like someone saying, I completely believe in your ability. Yeah. Go out and do it. Then there's sometimes a manager or just a change in the scenery can do that. You see that all the time with players. But in that same
his price too, there's a lot of hype.
Oh, there was, so much stick. And at the time, everyone was like, "That's a lot of money."
Yeah, oh shit, yeah.
But so glad that he did because it instantly improved us.
Now it seems like a bargain. The other thing is, again, I think the Moneyball started when Coutinho left. Because I think we probably should have even started there.
Oh, go
on.
Yeah.
It was probably the first major exit. from Liverpool.
Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, okay, we got less for him. I think we got
Luis
50
Suarez.
mil.
Luis Suarez.
That was even further back. But
Yeah.
I'm talking sort of around the time that obviously we had, Jurgen coming into the frame.
Yeah.
Okay, Sterling, we got 50 mil. Suarez, I can't even remember what they paid in the end. It was something crazy.
It was a lot. I don't think it was quite 100. I don't think it was. I think it was like. Was it like 80 something?
Something like that.
Yeah. Because he had like 1 or 2 years left on his contract, something like that.
Yeah, he had a couple, but I mean, Coutinho was the one though. Coutinho, that sale broke my heart. Okay, and most Liverpool fans, I think.
Yeah, I was so upset.
Yeah, okay.
Because he was so exciting.
Yeah, he
to
was.
watch.
He was great, and I thought, shit, there goes our only ever chance of possibly winning something. Like, as in one of our most creative players.
Yeah, just when we were going somewhere.
Yeah, we look to be getting. We're catching up to Man City, who obviously were established 10 years ago, and I thought, here we go. Like we're going to catch them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, don't have a go at me, City fans. It's just a joke.
Yeah, it's just a joke.
Yeah, like what the hell? I thought, how are we going to get back to where we were?
Yeah.
We just sold our best player.
Yeah. But it ended up being the best thing that could have happened, wasn't it? Because
this is Moneyball.
What was it like? Yeah, it's Moneyball. So we signed Felipe Coutinho from Inter Milan in 2012.
It's like 7 million. It was something ridiculous.
It was 8.5 mil.
8.5 million.
8.5 million pounds.
Ridiculous.
Almost won the league. Became a much better player.
Yes.
Became a much better player. Grew in value. And then we sold him for what? 140 something million?
Pretty much 150.
150. That's mad.
It's astonishing.
That's stonks. Right.
That is great.
That stonks right there.
I love
yes,
that.
I knew I'd get that in.
I can't believe you actually got that.
I knew I'd get that in this.
I can't believe you did it. I'm actually speechless. I'm done.
But
I'm done.
Getting back to the point. Hey.
You thought I was leaving.
Don't leave me.
Why would I do
don't
that?
Leave me.
Don't be silly.
You don't
Never.
get the reference, do you? Oh well.
I got it. Can you get on with it?
Boomers.
All
right. No. Take a seat, man. So obviously, we basically turned 8.5 million into 150 million. With that 150 million, we reinvested into 2 players. Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, 75 mil.
And Alisson Becker, 67 mil.
Yeah, something crazy. I think at the time it was the most expensive keeper. Then Chelsea bought Kepa. And I bet they're happy with that. So yeah, I mean, but there you go.
Moneyball.
It was literally Alisson and Van Dijk for Coutinho.
Yeah, and just shored up every doubt of defense, and we already had an amazing front line, and it actually kind of worked because it freed up Jurgen Klopp's idea of the workmanship midfields and a fluid front three. So it actually worked out really good. Like, and that's a good thing with Jurgen Klopp. He can like change absolutely like everything. He can change his front line and absolutely all that. So I love that.
I mean, don't forget in came Mane as well. So Mane came from Southampton.
Yeah,
you're making me laugh, George.
Oh, sorry, it's just funny.
I know it's just friendship. No, so Mane, I think.
Yeah,
it could be the air.
It could be. Carry on.
Mane came in from Southampton. I thought, okay, another player from Southampton.
Yeah.
But
what a surprise.
Again, great player. Now I remember when he was signed. I think it was it like 25 mil, 30 something.
36. I want to say 36. I want to say 36 mil.
Okay, I'm off. But I remember thinking, God damn, that is a lot of money. And yes, he's good, but is he 35 million? I underestimated both inflation in the market, which was clearly happening.
Yeah.
But also what Jurgen saw in him.
Yeah.
And now I can see it. Now I can see it clear as day. You're probably going to talk about this, but Klopp, he knows who he wants. He goes after them, but he sees something. This is, again, coming back to economics, not just performance stats, but potential.
Yeah.
He sees... Stop making me laugh.
I'm sorry. It's just... Yeah, go on.
No, that was it. I was passing to you.
Oh, yeah. 100%. He sees potential. He basically what he does, he analyzes the person as well. Like, obviously, he saw that Mo Salah was someone that needed that confidence and needed just that free reign. Same with Sadio Mane, but I think the most influential one was, no doubt, obviously Jordan Henderson and Roberto Firmino.
Oh, absolutely.
Roberto Firmino like when we signed him, he was one of my favorite players like in the world at the time when he was at Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim. Yeah.
He was brilliant at Hoffenheim, and I was so happy when we signed him. Like it was such a shock. Yeah. It was a shock to Jurgen Klopp when we signed him, because he was still at Dortmund, and he was like, "That's a really good signing."
And not that expensive either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I can't actually remember how much we signed him for, but I don't think it was more than. It was less than 25 mil. Like we got him for peanuts.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Absolute peanuts.
I've got 19 in my head. I reckon it was somewhere around there. But I mean, even that is just crazy value.
I kind of think it was a bit more than that.
Was it? I could have been.
Yeah.
But that is just crazy value.
Yeah. Crazy value. Loved it. But yeah, he absolutely changed him, because obviously Firmino was in such a strange situation because the fans really wanted to like him because he was a raw, talented player, but you didn't know where to put him. Like he wasn't a striker. He was a striker, but he wasn't a striker. Like it was, what do you do with that? Like he's amazing with his feet.
Well,
he's so selfless, but like he's not a finisher. He's not an out-and-out striker. What do you do with that?
But Klopp knew that.
But he was like, here, look.
Well, he was being played as a winger originally, and then he sort of played behind the front three. He played as a CAM. That didn't work. But then he tried what I thought again was something unachievable in the Premier League. He played him as a false nine.
Unbelievable.
I honestly didn't think he could do it.
Everyone's probably thinking like, wow, these are so biased. But no, I'm just like, what a stroke of
genius.
What a stroke of genius.
I think that's proving lack of bias, because I looked at that and said, this ain't going to work. Like I genuinely doubted, and this is talking as a footballer, not a Liverpool fan. You're a footballer. I looked at that and said, I think you look good. You look like a footballer. He's got the hair and everything.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome, George. But no, seriously, I couldn't see that working. Yeah. How many title-winning teams have played with a false nine? Okay, think Barcelona. About the last. Yeah, I said title, as in, but we're talking Premier League here.
Yeah.
And they all had, a pretty lethal forward line, and I thought at the front of your forward line there was, the target man. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to work. So again, hats off to Klopp. He played to strengths.
Yeah.
And he brought the best out of him in that position. And he's done it to other players too. I mean, he brought in a couple of other high-profile defenders.
Yeah.
From two very different places. Do you want to speak to that?
Two high-profile defenders, what, like Dejan Lovren and
no.
and Joel Matip?
No, sorry. Out wider.
Yeah. Oh, out wider.
Yeah.
Oh, like obviously, you mean Trent and Robbo?
I do.
Trent and Robbo. The boys.
The boys. Aren't they brilliant?
Yeah, love them. Why'd you throw your book?
Oh, sorry. What? Our cameraman's just having technical difficulty.
He's fallen asleep and he's snoring. Oh, thank you, Braden. Love that. Yeah, he gives us a thumbs up. Anytime.
So this is pretty obvious now. That's why I threw my book.
That's why he fell asleep. Love that. That's all good. But yeah, carry on.
No. So again, we've got to come back to the economics. So look at the philosophy underlying these transfers. He brought in Hoffenheim. He brought in Firmino from Hoffenheim, a bargain. He brought in Alisson and Van Dijk, not bargains, but our net spend as a consequence of selling players was crazy. I think it was 8.6 million or something like that.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
And I thought, okay, he's got a good team together here. Just coming back to the defenders, so he promoted effectively Trent.
Yep.
Alexander-Arnold from the academy. And
cost nothing.
Cost nothing. And then on the left side, I remember again, with respect to Alberto Moreno, very erratic, very inconsistent.
Not a defender.
Not what we needed. But it became an issue because then we were like, well, who's going to play the left back? There weren't that many going around at the time.
Yeah.
So, what exactly were we going to do there? Don't throw it. So, okay, he's going to throw it. All right, go on. Yep. Okay.
Good catch.
In every good bookstore.
Good catch.
Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, but thank God. Wow. No, that's all G. It's all G. First episode. I love that.
This is unedited, so what you're seeing is actually what happened.
Only the best quality on Soccernomics Podcast.
Yep, Soccernomics Live. You heard it here first.
But yeah, there wasn't, obviously going back to the left back, there wasn't a lot going out there.
No, there wasn't. But everyone was crying out for a high-profile left back.
Yeah, but we got one, didn't we?
Well, I didn't think we did.
Yeah, but we did, didn't we?
Okay, look. Take your Liverpool hat off. No one thought this was going to work.
I actually didn't know who he was. Like, and that's so, so bad. But you should have
bad for saying this. But I remember we signed this guy, and I said to my brother. My brother said, "Who is this Andy Robertson?" I said, "I don't know. We just signed some crank from Hull City." And I was literally shaking my head. I'm like, "Why couldn't we have gone out and got someone high profile? We've got a £7 million from Hull City."
Turned out to be the best.
And
£7 million.
Oh my God, I'd bow to his feet
I've ever
and tie his laces if he asked.
Literally, amazing, absolutely amazing. But that's another thing. Like, what is a good transfer? What is a good transfer?
Yeah.
That is one of them. It's a potential, and you grow into it. Yeah. That's in the same category as actually in the same category as Van Dijk, whether you believe it or not, because he's come in and he's worth a lot more than what we bought him for. That is a class of undervalued.
Yes.
The other thing that I like to highlight, because a lot of people don't quite see or appreciate this, is like when a player appreciates in value and we sell him at an appreciated value. A lot of players, for example, you've got Dom Solanke, Jordan Ibe. Yeah, okay, we didn't buy him, but we sold him at like a considerable amount more. Like, what was he? He came through. Actually, we signed him for £500,000 from Wycombe Wanderers.
That's right. Yeah, and he came with a big rap as well. Like, it was. And
it was good.
Fair, yeah, to be fair, he was a good player.
He was good. We sold him for £15 million to Bournemouth. That's a huge appreciation in terms of percentage.
Yeah.
That's 30 times.
And credit to him, he did all right there too. Yeah. But it was just.
Did he?
Well,
it just didn't work out for him. He had a lot of injuries.
Well, to be fair, I didn't watch as many Bournemouth games as I probably should have to pass comment. But I think I saw enough that when he did come on and do his thing. I mean, to be fair, I think out of the Liverpool players that went towards Bournemouth, Harry Wilson probably performed the best.
Yeah.
But
and he still has.
Yeah. That's what I mean. The ones that went to Bournemouth. But you're right though. Looking at the value component.
Yeah. Like, what is a good transfer?
Cost peanuts.
Dom Solanke, £4 million. Sold him for, I want to say like 15 million, but I think it was more actually. I think it was 19 million pounds. I think it was 19 million pounds, but don't hold me to that. But like, that's a huge appreciation. That's almost 4 times as much.
Yeah.
That is a good transfer.
That is
good business from FSG.
Yeah.
They saw growth potential. All of a sudden, you've got £15 million just to come out of nowhere. Yeah, sick. I can spend that on more players. Like Giancaspro that we just bought. What was that? Like £11 million?
Yeah.
11.7 or something.
Yeah. Again, peanuts. Because I remember I actually said to you, I'm like, what is it about this guy? I'll never question a Klopp signing again.
Yeah.
But there's something about him. What is it? Did some Googling, and what do you know? Statistically, the most effective and accurate crosser of the ball in the Champions League this season.
Really?
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Soccernomics. So
in the Champions League?
In the Champions League, all the games. And I think, I don't know about because it was obviously playing in the Greek league. I don't know if that carried over into the Greek league too, but I know in terms of the Champions League performances, he was the best crosser.
Amazing.
And I thought, okay, there it is. Klopp has found something in this guy. I'm like, I've never heard of him. So, I've heard of him, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's got to be something there.
Yeah, there has to. I mean, obviously, he's not going to walk into a squad like it's obviously a backup or just some sort of competition to provide to Andy Robertson, because there's been games where we've been like, we don't have a left back right now.
Yeah, mind you, hats off to Nico Williams. I thought he actually did very well when he came on a couple of games brilliant. Towards the end. Yeah, but he actually played left back, and I thought he did really well. Yeah,
that's not his position. His position is right back.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Hats off to him. I thought he did quite well.
Yeah, I can't wait for he's really good. He's probably our best. He's probably our best out of our academy, to be honest. Like, everyone, I love Curtis Jones, but and he's like going to be brilliant. But Nico Williams, and Harvey as well, and Rian. Oh, we've got so many players.
There are some good starlets.
Marco Grujic. I can't wait for Marco Grujic to play some games for us.
There are some really good young players coming through the ranks.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's so much potential that's coming through. Like, that's the other thing as well with Jurgen, is he's not afraid to try kids.
Yeah,
he brings them in. He trusts them.
That normally fails.
It normally fails. Yeah, it does normally fail, but
I mean that with respect, but it's true. Like, normally the kids come in and they're clearly out of their depth. He's brought these guys in, and I can see straight away they know, okay, they have to perform for this guy.
Yeah, they have to.
And they do.
They do. They give him
They don't look
everything.
out of place. I think a
Give
few
him
times,
everything.
a couple of them got bumped off the ball, but that's going to happen. Honestly, though, I thought all 3 or 4 debutants from the academy this season, fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant.
Like, I'd be happy with any of them starting.
Yeah. And
It's been a long time since I've said that. Honestly, it's been a very, very long time since I've confidently said, chuck whoever in from the reserves.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's nice to see.
It
And do you know why? Do you know why it's kind of working for us? And I strongly believe it's down to this. It's because they're all training with the first team.
Yep.
You're as good as the environment that you're in. That happens in anything, whether that's at work, whether that's in sport.
Yep.
Absolutely anything. Like, if you get thrown in the deep end, you can only get better. Whereas if you're a little fish with lots of other little fish, you're not really going to turn into a big fish, are you?
No, that sounded like a really nice fairy tale.
Fairy tale? No, unfortunately not. It's not Finding Nemo.
We'll get to the true fairy tale in a minute. But no, the other thing is, you're right. For context, so Liverpool's junior players, reserves and whatnot, trains normally at Kirkby. And the senior players at Merwood, now they currently train together. Again, that was Jurgen's doing. He wanted them to train together, at least in the same facility.
Yeah.
And then obviously there'd be occasional crossover. Building the brand new facility as well. So again, these are all those, we're coming back to those 1%ers that he put in place.
That's it.
You can see the economics though here. You can
100%.
see
Yeah.
with those transfers that you just mentioned. He saw value, he saw potential value, he saw skill.
Yeah.
And he's identified all these players, who he thinks he can bring into a team. And it paid dividends, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, look at last season.
Yeah. So close to winning it. Won the Champions League. This season we go one step further, win the league. And that's, like, again, if you can see, like, if you take the literal term of what economics is and making the most out of your finite resources to maximize your output, our net spend was how much?
I think it was like 8.6 million.
8.6 million, and yet all of a sudden we've got, like, the best team in the world. I think that
have to be up there.
That is 100% making the most out of your finite resources. There is no other team that you can think of that does that.
Yeah.
Obviously, teams that have like really great youth academies that can bring out that all sort of stuff. Like, obviously you got like your teams in Portugal, like Ajax, that sort of stuff, and Southampton.
Yeah.
But this is a whole nother level. Like, this is £8.5 million. All of a sudden you're the best team in the world and you've just won the league, and with convincingly record-breaking league, and win the Champions League as well. So that is economics, isn't it? That is Moneyball.
Of course. But I honestly thought it was impossible.
Yeah.
I thought you couldn't Moneyball the Premier League. The only way Liverpool would ever win the league again, and this is speaking as a diehard fan, I thought we'd have to spend squillions, get bought out by some consortium that was wealthier than FSG. Don't get me wrong, I was happy with ownership, but I thought we need people that are going to spend like crazy money.
Yeah.
But honestly, I did. I thought that's the only way we're ever going to win the league again. Yeah. And then this charismatic German waltzes in, starts selling who he wants, buying who he wants. But that's the other thing. There was clearly a synergy between management and ownership. You could see that because he got along with the owners. They spoke so highly of one another. Again, a stark contrast with his predecessors.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I believed that they were all on the same page, and they all believed this was going to happen. I think Jurgen was their man, FSG's man. They knew that he could do this because he'd done it with Dortmund.
They were made for each other.
You remember that amazing Dortmund squad? He had a habit of doing exactly of doing what they want, of moneyballing teams in good leagues. You know, and I thought Premier League never.
Yeah, basically makes normal players good players and makes good players world-class players. And that's what happened.
That's his formula.
That is what he's done.
He's a magician. And
brilliant.
It's just incredible.
Love it. Anyway, I think that covers recruitment. The final thing is obviously what FSG have done behind the scenes for Liverpool as well, because obviously that is a massive thing. It's not all about what goes on the pitch, it's what goes on off the pitch.
Hell yeah.
Big thing is, of course, like the revenue of the football club and all that sort of stuff, which...
Yeah.
I mean, what is it at the moment? So they bought Liverpool at £300,000. It's now estimated to be worth about £2 billion.
Was it 300,000?
So did I say 300,000? 300 million. Wow, 300,000. What a steal! What a steal! No, I mean,
some of our players make that per week. Well, maybe a
do.
fortnight.
I think Verge is on about that much, isn't he, right now? But yeah, like that. So we went from 300. So they bought us for £300 million. albeit that they bought a lot of debt as well.
They did. They bought an awful
lot of debt, which was what was killing them. But it's now estimated to be worth about £2 billion. Obviously, inflation has something to do with that as well.
Yes.
But that is a huge difference, considering that football teams are still valued at around 300 million, not 300,000. Oh God, it's too late, man.
No, it's okay. I'm just happy that we're actually worth more than that.
Oh yeah, we're definitely worth more than £300,000. I wish I was worth £300,000.
You're priceless, George.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Once again, your kind words. But yeah, obviously they did a lot of things. Yeah. So what did they do to basically FSG to bring us in the right direction and make us a profitable team, profitable club, and a business that people want to get involved in?
Yeah, good question. The answer is very multi-pronged and multi-layered, but
I know. Sorry about that.
No, well, they did a lot of things. Again, a lot of little things. I think one of the first things they did, of course, was focus on our brand. Our brand had copped a severe battering, and not just because of lack of success. We'd had miscellaneous successes. We had Champions League 05, FA Cup 06, but again, they came in dribs and drabs. It was never sustained success.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone wanted the big one, wanted the league. So they put steps in place to improve our brand, our image, make us an attractive proposition for players again. That had to be done.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most fans weren't thinking in those terms because fans, let's be honest, we want it now. We want success now.
Yeah.
The wait is painful. We'd waited 30 years or at the time, 20, 29 and a bit.
Yeah.
So they worked on, for example, sponsorships. Brought in new sponsorships. I can't remember who they bring in place of Carlsberg, who was our kit sponsor for years. Am I wearing
Standard Chartered.
Standard Chartered, yeah.
Wow. It's literally right on your person.
Well, I was trying to share the love.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, Standard Chartered. They've been in pretty much almost since day one. Hey.
Thank you, Standard Chartered. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. I still don't quite know what you do.
That makes two of us. But thanks anyway. You sponsor the best club in the world.
Obviously got the kit deal with, it was Warrior, wasn't it? Which was bought out by New Balance. Obviously made us a unique icon for New Balance. Like we were their main football team.
And that was worth more, wasn't it, as well? Like that was worth considerably more than our previous deal, as was this deal.
Considerably more, which is amazing given where we were at. They were increasing revenue tenfold, like ridiculous amounts.
And the kid sponsor as well. I think Standard offered, I hope I'm not misquoting here, but I think Carlsberg was £7 million per year or something. Standard Chartered were about 20, which was at the time was one of the best kit deals. So
that's massive. Hey,
that is a big jump. Over 4 or 5 years. That's £50+ million. That's a lot.
There's a lot. There's
one
you got
big chunk of debt gone.
Yeah. 100%. And it's just passive, isn't it? It's passive income. That passive income. Love that.
I like that. He's an economist, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
He's an economist.
Love that passive income. But yeah, you've got that. Obviously, you got we had with Malaysian Airlines as well.
AXA, the kit sponsor for training kits and whatnot. Yeah. So they brought in a lot of extra sponsors.
Garuda, Western Union.
The kings of touchy transfers.
The irony.
And they're on our badge too.
Oh, love that. Love
Just
it.
kidding. No, they're great. They're all great.
Obviously, so that obviously opened up the market as well. It diversified the market.
Yes.
Worldwide. It helped us appeal, I guess, to more people. America's the big one. Obviously, we're owned by Americans.
Yeah.
Why not appeal to Americans? That's pretty much what they did as well. Hey.
Yeah, it was. I mean, since I think the World Cup in '94, football's gone absolutely bananas in the US. Their crowds are astonishing. Their average crowd figures, big clubs, 60,000.
I think Atlanta United is like one of the highest attended game stadiums in the world.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're in the top 5.
That's crazy.
Yeah, mad.
In the US,
I think it's top 5 or maybe top 10, but they're consistently high, and they're only a young club. They're only 3 or 4 years old, probably not even. It's madness.
That's brilliant.
I love it.
But see, there
massive market.
You have a market. That's right. You got a market who's thirsty for entertainment. Americans like Australians love their sport, so no surprises they decided to try and diversify and tack into the the US market.
Yeah.
And so what did we do? We went and played a couple of, we had a pre-season tour there.
Yeah, obviously played at Fenway Park, the home of the Boston Red Sox and FSG, of course, which...
One of the cathedrals of sport.
100%. And a massive success, of course. And it showed that the connection between, obviously, Boston Red Sox and Liverpool. A lot of people probably don't even know that they're linked. But, of course, with our owners being the same owners, it meant a lot to the people in Boston, meant a lot to the owners, and they showed it. They showed it. And that, I think the American, I say the Americans like it's just one thing, but a lot of Americans are bought into it. For example... This is in terms of investments, but LeBron James getting involved at Liverpool.
Minority shareholder?
Yeah, major shareholder. I think he got in like 2011. And yeah, like you just saw him doing things like when we just released our new kit, who was wearing the new kit. Yes,
he was. On the way to a game,
way to a game. What a marketing ploy. That he was
playing in.
What a marketing ploy. That's like, that again, nice. Absolute stonks right there. Like you have own shares in Liverpool, and you are one of the most influential people in sport. I'm just gonna wear a Liverpool shirt. Like I love that. Like the amount of people that I know people that like in basketball, it's not really about what team you support; it's what player you support. So the amount of people who worship LeBron James, they see they support Liverpool, they're gonna support Liverpool.
No, you're right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No brainer.
You're absolutely right. It is the
brainer.
NBA mentality, isn't it? To follow the player, not the team, generally.
Yeah, generally.
I mean, I'm a Chicago fan, but, I do love LBJ. What do you mean? It's like when I was a kid, I went for all the red teams. Okay, so can you understand Chicago?
Rotherham United.
No, but, it's kind of similar, actually, because, not to cross sports quickly, but, Chicago, they had their lean period, like Liverpool, and it was painful to be a Chicago fan for a while.
Yeah.
It kind of still is at the moment, but there's glimpses.
There's glimpses. There's always a way back.
Couple of, young, promising up-and-comers. But see, with basketball, it's funny. It's different. You can put one player in a basketball team and change their fortunes completely. You cannot do that with football.
Mad. You can't.
So it's easier, I think, to moneyball other sports. And that's kind of where we were heading with that before.
100%.
Yeah. But look, FSG, they did a lot of other things too. What else? They brought in a couple of other ideas. And
they increased the capacity of the stadium.
Yeah. Huge.
Big thing. Obviously that not only like obviously makes us have a bigger capacity stadium so that we have like a pissing contest sort of thing, but brings in more revenue every single year, allows more people to go and watch the games. Yep. It's just a good thing for the club. Like it shows to the supporters and to the shareholders that they are willing to invest into the club even more, that they are still caring about not just the results on the pitch but everything else in it as well. And it's good to see them thinking long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you want to see.
Absolutely. There's rumours now they're thinking of expanding it further. But remember when Hicks and Gillette were in charge, they promised spade in the ground within so many months.
Yeah.
Brand new stadium, blah blah blah. Then there was talk of no, actually we're just going to sell out the naming rights to Anfield. Can you imagine? That is sacrilegious.
They would have been crucified.
Oh, it would never work. But you can imagine the uproar, the utter uproar. It would never, ever have happened. That was an example, again, of a little thing that pissed people off, the supporters. So what FSG did was honour that heritage and ask the fans, what do you prefer?
Yeah.
Do you want to stay where we are? We'll fix it up. Or do you want to go elsewhere? And of course, it was overwhelming. We're staying put. It's our spiritual home. It always will be. We were born there. We'll die there. They've done their part. I mean, you've seen it. It looks beautiful. They've respected.
It's beautiful.
They've respected the heritage. They used the original brick. Yeah. They used all the original, like designs and principles of the construction. And it's just
it's not on the cheap.
Yeah,
it's like we're doing it for the fans.
Yeah,
we're doing it for the shareholders, I guess.
But again, what's that saying to the people? That's management saying directly to the people, we're with you.
Yeah, 100%.
We're with
that's what you want to see in a club.
Yeah.
I think overall what you can say from this whole thing, obviously they everything seems to be pointing in the right direction, whether that's in terms of a business sense or results base or from a fan's perspective as well, feeling appreciated. Everything seems to be going in the right place, which is it almost doesn't seem real, like how much we've changed in the past 10 years. But what you can see is that there's clearly a plan and they're clearly thinking long term. surely that says to a lot of people, a lot of owners, and a lot of football clubs that you, in order to be successful, you need a patience, you need a plan that works. That's not short term but long term, and just actually care. Just actually care about like who you're doing it for, and actually have the right motives. Because you can't own a football club where your revenue is made up of people, your supporters. Like these aren't shareholders who are investing because they want to make quick buck. These are people like it's more than that. People identify with that club, so you can't. Like, you've got to. You've just got to. It's like your job. Like you just got to do it. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm rambling on here about, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's a whole different thing. It brings out a new perspective of what an owner should do.
Yes,
it's not.
I get you.
Yeah, this whole idea of a club needs to be profitable. No, it doesn't need to be profitable. It needs to be run in a right way where it respects the fans and it goes in the direction that they promised to go. All right. Like you shouldn't be running you shouldn't be buying a football club, and you wouldn't buy a football club if you say, I don't want to win anything.
Yeah, unless you're Wigan. Sorry.
Unless you, I feel so bad.
No, so do I. I actually really like the Laddigs. You know, little club battling. Extreme odds. So I do sympathise with our friends in Wigan.
Yeah, but we will talk about that on another podcast. I'm sure, because that's such an interesting story. Like
a sad story.
It should not be happening in football. Like it's.
But it comes back to what you're talking about. You need the right people to own football clubs. These are corporate. Yes, sport has commercialised. Yes, football clubs like Liverpool, like all these others in the Premier League and elsewhere, are corporations. That is true. But they do not, we were talking about this earlier, run like a traditional corporation. Okay, because in a business, you know, your board, your CEO, they're the most important people. You know, with these businesses, corporations, it's your stakeholders.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess
in any good business, you keep the shareholders happy. That's what you got to do.
Absolutely.
And in football, you do have shareholders, but your fans are your shareholders.
Yeah,
you got to keep them happy.
But we were saying before, like I like Apple phones, but I don't particularly care if my next one's an Apple or not. I do like the product. I'm not obsessed with the company. I'm not in love with the company. I adore this club with all my heart. Yeah, you know, I pay crazy amounts in memberships and buying things, and you know.
And you live in Australia.
And I live in Australia, you know. I flew all the way there last year to watch it. I loved it, you know. But I'd do it all again. Yeah. But that's the difference. Okay, that is loyalty unbridled, and it's completely different. So owners need to respect that. You know, you're not just buying another asset that will appreciate in value if you do things right.
It'll appreciate it if you do the right things.
Yeah. No, you're buying a culture. Yeah, you're buying a community, and that's completely agree with you. Completely. Yeah, Love so if you're going to moneyball it, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to be careful. It's like, again, it's not about the cheap. It's about taking advantage of the opportunities that are there and seeking what's undervalued, and don't stop it there. Try and make it better. That's it. Like
put the right things in place to make moneyball work, like Oakland A's did, and like Liverpool Football Club has done. So FSG, hats off, because
hats off them.
They've
completed it, mate. They've completed it.
I said it was impossible. No. I said it was impossible.
No, they've done it.
They've done it.
But hey, that was. I think that pretty much like finishes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've said enough.
I think we've waffled on enough. Like if you're still watching this, I mean, like, there's hats off to you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, Mark, thank you so much for coming on here and talking to me today.
Shucks, you're making me blush, George. Thank you.
That's all right. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure on the very first Soccernomics podcast.
Only up from here, right?
Only up from here, unless you're a Liverpool fan, where hopefully you stay there for a while. But yeah,
only sky, to quote the Beatles. Was the Beatles, right?
It was
John Lennon.
Yeah. Anyway. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And look, I'll catch you on the next episode of Soccernomics Podcast. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.